all this going on here in the United States, folks. It is tax time. How many people are happy to do their taxes? Me neither. But we got to do them. We got to do them. But what if I told you that if you're black, you're more likely to be audited by the IRS than any other race of people? That's right, black Americans are up to 5 times more likely to have their federal tax returns audited than taxpayers of other races, according to a new study released this week. With the IRS now accepting tax returns, the study provides evidence that some Americans have a greater risk of seeing an audit, a process that often delays refund checks. Ooh, please don't let this happen to me. Oh, please don't let this happen to me. The higher audit rate for black taxpayers is due to a flawed AI algorithm relied on by the IRS to decide who gets audited. The study's author said the study, which taps data from more than 148 million anonymous returns and 780,000 audits, offers suggestions for how the IRS might fix the disparity, including focusing on auditing filers with complicated returns. The study, published on Tuesday, well, it was a few Tuesdays ago, comes from a team including the University of Michigan economist Evelyn Smith. Even though many of the factors the IRS's algorithm relies on are secret, the researcher said that the program prioritizes small dollar, high certainty audit cases and places less emphasis on how much a filer is claiming an income. Black taxpayers tend to make the types of mistakes that IRS historically has focused on, Smith told NPR. So an example would be claiming dependents. The IRS focuses very heavily on ensuring that dependents are claimed for the purposes of the eligible income tax credit. The earned income tax credit meet the eligibility criteria. So basically, the IRS in this country, and this is important to say because Joe Biden and the Democrats just hired a bunch more IRS tax agents. And if you've seen what the first thing they've chosen to do is go after not Wall Street CEOs, not these big giant corporations. Oh no. They are going after the tips of waiters and waitresses. That's who they are choosing to go after now. That is the first major development since the Democrats who control our government have said they wanted to hire all these IRS tax agents. Now they said it that they wanted to hire all these tax agents so that they could go after all these big corporations. That's what they told us. That's not the reality. The reality is they are gearing up to go after low-income people. People like us. Okay, I'm not trying to put my full income, my full business out in the streets, but I am not a millionaire, folks. I know a lot of you thought I was. It's okay, but I am not a millionaire. No, I am not a millionaire. I am a man of modest means, like many of you here in the city of Gary, Indiana, and East Chicago, Indiana. A lot of my peeps out there. Let me give shout out to my peeps in East Chicago. You know, Juan Andrade, all them. My mama's whole family from East Chicago. My mama from East Chicago. Give a shout out to them. I was born in Hammond. Big shout out to all my peeps in Hammond. I'm of modern means like all of y'all. Modest means, I'm sorry. So the IRS are choosing to take their power, the power that they get and have been endowed with by this administration, who has hired a bunch of new IRS tax agents to go after small dollar audit cases. Meanwhile, we've seen the Panama Papers and we've seen the Paradise Papers. Both have exposed how the wealthy of the world are making record profits in every single way possible. On this show, we have covered these corporations from Tyson's Chicken to all the oil companies, Exxon, and all those people making record profits. And some of the richest people in the world are hiding their money from taxes. Elon Musk paying no money in taxes, $0 in taxes. Jeff Bezos not paying any taxes. All these people, Amazon not paying no taxes. But they will come after waiters and waitresses and low-income tax people. And they're going to mess with me with my little earned income tax credit. Now, the study represents the first time the IRS has given an outside research team so much access to tax return and completed audits. The returns, which were filed between 2010 and 2018, don't reveal the filer's race, so researchers used a special method cross-referencing names, geography, census tract data to loosely predict which returns were filed by black taxpayers. The researchers said that there's no evidence that IRS agents who don't see the race of a tax filer are purposely discriminated against black Americans. However, the IRS could eliminate the disparity by auditing people with complex tax returns and people who underreport their income. But then they'd have to go after rich people, so they're not going to do that. The IRS's audit rates have drawn criticism from other researchers as well as lawmakers, with the 2022 report finding that low-income households are 5 times as likely to be audited as higher-income taxpayers. That is due to higher audit rates linked to the Earned Income Tax Credit, a tax benefit for low-income workers that often leads to errors on tax returns. The Stanford study also found a link between black taxpayers claiming the EITC and being audited. Black people accounted for 21% of EITC claims in 2014, but they were 43% of the EITC audits. So folks, once again, and I'm actually glad that this story has popped up. I'm glad we're close to tax return, because I want you guys to see how deeply intertwined class and race are in this society. So black people are redlined into these poor communities where we have lower incomes. And then we are more likely to be audited because we are trying to get some relief from living in these communities, these poor communities. Meanwhile, again, millionaires are hiding wealth all over the world. Panama and other tropical countries, equatorial countries, they are not being audited as much as black people who work at McDonald's. I have a far more likely chance to be audited than Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Elon Musk or any of these guys who are finding ways to subvert paying taxes. Warren Buffett confessed many years ago that his secretary paid a higher income tax rate than he did. And these people are getting richer and richer and richer. This is the reality, folks. This is the reality that we are living with. And stories like this, let me just say this as well, because it's almost time for us to take a break in a few minutes. This illustrates why, as African American people, ADOS people, FBA people, whatever you want to call us, that there is a need for reparations in this country for the descendants of the slaves that built this country and endured hundreds of years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, decades of redlining, to this day redlining, a two-tiered legal system, and now the IRS being more likely to target us than they are millionaires and billionaires that pay little to no taxes whatsoever. Every facet of our society has been rigged on some level to make life harder for African American people. From the legal system, to the educational system, to the medical and healthcare system, to the financial system, all of it. Every single bit of our society, political system, voter suppression. These laws get passed on tax policy. We are not allowed to vote because many of us have been kicked off the voter rolls. Sometimes wrongfully. I told you guys the story I think this was, let me see, was this in November? When was the last election? This is some point about 6 months ago. I want to say it was in November. I went to early vote and they could not find my name on the voter rolls. And so I left and came here because I was going to vote before I came here to work at WLTH. And I got things started here and I went back across the street there to the library where I went to go early vote. And finally, after 20 minutes, they were able to find my name on the voter rolls. Now, if this had been election day and not been early voting, there would have been hundreds of people there. I wouldn't have been able to get back in there so quickly. I would have just gone away and be like, forget it. I'll either vote later or not vote at all. Then I don't vote. Policy is passed without my consent. Tax policy, policy on housing, everything else in our society, in our community. And that's used against me to screw me and keep me from being able to accumulate any wealth, generational wealth, to pass down to my children if I ever have any. This is why I support reparations. Right here. Every facet of our society, the IRS, the legal system, the political system, the educational system, the healthcare system, all designed to exploit and hemorrhage the black community of its wealth. Wow. All right, folks, I got to go to a break. This will be my last break because it is 7:40. Oh my God, 7:40 here on March the 10th, 2023. This is the last break. So if you got something to say to me, you only got about 10 minutes. Okay, 219-885-1371. The number again, 219-885-1371. We'll be right back after these.